Howdy y'all, this is Clint Wilkinson, owner of Wilkinson's Fine Goods in Denton, Texas. I wanted to do a video that goes over the process of designing your own cowboy boot, and specifically designed by Fenoglio Boot Company out of Nocona, Texas. We've been working with Fenoglio for the last 2.5 years, and I must say it's been quite a pleasant experience. They're only about an hour up the road from us. They have a really long history in making cowboy boots back when the old Nocona boot factory was still up and running before it got bought out in the 90s. And anyhow, they're still making cowboy boots today. And one of the unique things about our shop compared to others is that they allow us to take on custom orders, meaning that the customer can walk into our shop or go online on our website and design their own cowboy boot. Now, that's not to say this is a perfect fit to your foot type of cowboy boot that you would go see a maker like Parker Boot Company down in Houston, where you go there and they trace your foot and they build a last, out of wood or whatever type of material specific to your foot, so you get a true fit. This is more like, stock sizes, but you get to design the entire boot, which is pretty unique still in itself, especially for the price point. And we'll go over the price point first, because most of y'all probably want to know how much it costs to do all this before you get to the end of the video. But for a custom pair of Fenoglio boots currently, right now, non-exotic, runs about $400, which in the cowboy boot world, if you're familiar, that is a phenomenal price point. If you're looking to get something like what I discussed a minute ago about a true custom boot from one of these guys that makes phenomenal boots, you're looking to spend somewhere around $1,500 baseline price, and it just goes up from there. And that's not to say you shouldn't go do that and support these guys, because they sure need it. But if you don't have that type of budget and you still want something unique, you can design boots with us. So I'd like to go over the process of, kind of what that looks like. If you come into our shop or you go online, all the different options that you get to do to design your boot. Okay, so here we have all the different toe options for the Fenoglio boots. As you can see here, there's kind of a wide range of different options, from square to pointed, more of a snip toe, kind of a round pointed, traditional round, things of that nature. Then you can pick out your heel. So we have a regular walking heel, riding heel, and a roper heel, kind of a taller heel here, these two options. Your sole, leather, ranch tough, crepe. You have your V-bar and your wedge, which these are more work boot type soles. So ranch tough is a sole that Fenoglio created that you can wear also while riding. There's a lot of cowboys who don't like to wear rubber soles when they're riding because their feet get hung up in the stirrups. And this ranch tough allows you to ride, but also have the durability of a rubber sole. So this is a real popular sole for them if you're not wanting to do a leather. Then your boot top, which that's this part of the boot. It's how deep you want the cut. The collars, which are going to be overlays that can go here on this part of the boot. Your toe bug. So your toe bug is what is stitched right here on this portion of the boot. The one that we do the most is this 200. Your boot pulls. So Here are some fancy boot pulls with an overlay. So you can see here on these ostrich, they have this overlay of ostrich. So whichever two leathers you choose for your vamp leather and your top leather will determine which one is the overlay. But most people either do the standard or the overlay. Wingtips, which are they go on the front portion of the toe if you want to design something in that style. This would also be an overlay, so you can have maybe a a dark color vamp and then a lighter wingtip for the overlay, or vice versa, whatever you want to choose there. Inlay tops, so as you can see here, all the light portions of these would be the inlay, meaning you could choose a red for this white portion, and then the top portion of the leather that could be a totally different color. So there's all sorts of different options that you can choose. And then we get into the stitch patterns, which there are pages and pages of different stitch patterns, and you'll see maybe a dash with a number 8 that indicates the number of rows of stitching. And with that, you get to select from all of these different colors. Some people want to keep things simple and just use, like on this boot here, they just wanted a gold stitch. That's it. They didn't want to mix and match colors or whatever. They just wanted gold. Whereas this boot here, you can see that they've chose 1, 2, 3, 4 different colors. So this is, all the different options that you can choose for stitch pattern. And then lastly, what we'll go over is, before we get to the leather, the piping. So piping is this portion of the boot that runs right along the seam here. You can choose from any of these variations that you see here. You can see that they've chose the contrast piping for this boot. They've also chose the contrast piping for this boot as well. You can match it, whatever you want to do. Another thing that we didn't talk about is when you come into the store, you can select whether or not you want a natural heel and welt edge. And as you can see, this is a natural leather, so it's lighter, meaning it's in its natural state, whereas this boot, they've chose to dye the sole edge of the boot to be a little bit darker, and you can see the contrast there. Also, you can choose the welt stitch. So as you can see on this boot here, they've done a dark stitch with a natural welt, and this boot they've done a white stitch on a natural welt. You can also choose whether or not you want double row stitching or single row. Both of these boots have single row stitch. So a lot of options, Okay, so the last thing that we'll go over real quick are the leather options. And of course they have exotic leathers, your cayman, your alligator, crocodile, and all of your traditional colors. And we have this fish leather here, which is kind of a funky pattern. Python. Then we have lizard. And then lastly we have elephant. Then over into your ostrich, your full quill ostrich. Your blacks, your chocolate, your saddle tans, your cognacs. I mean, there's all sorts of different options for exotic. Then we have your normal cowhide options, and we're not going to lay each one of these out, but just to show you, I mean, there's just tons of different color combinations that you can choose from if you wanted something that wasn't exotic. I mean, you have all these different options, and if you wanted a fun colored top or maybe just a different colored boot altogether, I mean, there's all these different color variations. So, and with that too, I'll also tell you that Fenoglio is really popular for their rough out, meaning there is a smooth side. There's a smooth side to the leather. Then there's the reverse side, which has more of a suede feel, which is what we call rough out. Any of these boots or these swatches can be made into rough out boots. So if you liked, let's just say you liked this cognac bios leather. As you can see, it's got kind of a cool smooth side to it. Maybe you wanted this to be the top. Flip it over and you could use this for the bottom, the vamp. So you could have a boot that looks something like this on the bottom and this on the top. You can reverse any of these leathers. You can see that they've done that with this boot here. This is an olive that they've just reversed to the rough out side, and they made the whole boot rough out, which is kind of a cool, unique look. So that can be done. There's thousands of different options that you can choose from here with Fenoglio boots and Wilkinson's Fine Goods. Another thing I'd like to mention is wait time. So Fenoglio says it takes around 14 weeks to receive your custom pair of boots. Most of the time that's pretty accurate. We've had some boots take longer. Some boots have taken 16, 18 weeks, but nothing over 20, 24 weeks. Again, if you're familiar with the custom cowboy boot world, you know that 14 weeks is pretty quick. I mean, there's other boot brands out there that take on custom orders that, you know, it take a year before you get your boots. And on top of that, their prices are somewhere around the $1,000 range, and that's not a fit to your foot type of boot either. It's just stock sizes. So in my opinion, and I've been in the cowboy boot world for a long time, this is probably one of the best options out there for customizing boots for the price point and for the wait time. All right, y'all, so that is how we take on custom boots through Fenoglio here at our shop. Again, you can design your own boot online on our website at wilkinsonsfinegoods.com. You'll see all the different options that you have, and we don't have every option available that I went through here today online because our webpage would be a mile long. So we try to keep things pretty simple online, but if there's options that you would like that we don't offer online, we can take your order over the phone, or you can just come on into the shop if you're local, and we can design your own boot. It's a pretty simple process. It takes about 30 minutes, if that. You got to kind of use your imagination a little bit, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.